Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So 39-year-old Indiana resident Arthur Reyher went to D.C. with his wife Jessica. They headed to the Capitol after Donald Trump's speech ended, and after the police lines had already fallen, Reyher and his wife followed the mob to the Lower West Terrace. They were seen on video entering the tunnel where so much of that horrific violence took place that day. And as the Reyhers entered the tunnel, they were chanting USA and whose house, our house. So the Reyhers forced their way through the crowd. They made it to the front of the police line. They repeatedly refused officers' orders to move back. And then eventually the police deployed pepper spray into the crowd. So at that point, a bunch of the mob backed out of the tunnel. However, the Reyhers did not. They remained inside. And Reyher was face to face with the officers, and he kept thrusting his body into the police line over a sustained period of time. So sometime later, the mob started rocking back and forth in unison. You guys have seen these videos. They were yelling heave ho. They were pushing against the officers. The Reyhers were at the front of the mob. They were taking part in all of this. And then after a while, Reyher and his wife exited the tunnel. Reyher, as he left, he raised his hand in the air and he yelled to the mob, quote, "Don't hit him, keep your hands up and push." So after a few minutes outside, Reyher and his wife were seen entering the tunnel a second time. Once again, they maneuvered through the crowd, they moved closer to the police, they took part in more of those heave-ho collective pushes against the police. They exited again a short time later. As with before, they remained in the area, though, and then Reyher was seen encouraging other people to enter the tunnel and fight. And then Reyher was yelling for everyone to push. He was still outside, but he's yelling for everybody to push. He was patting other people on the back as they were entering the tunnel. And then several minutes later, a man came out of the tunnel and he yelled that the mob had almost broken through. So he looked at the Reyhers and he asked, "Hey, are you guys going in or not?" So the Reyhers went to the tunnel, they looked inside, and then they rushed inside for a third time. They again took part in the collective heave-ho push against the police. They exited the tunnel again a short time later, though, and then re-entered a fourth time and continued pushing against the police. Then they finally exited for the last time. And to his credit, while they were outside the tunnel, Reyher tried to intervene while Officer Michael Fanone was being attacked. As you all know, he was brutally assaulted. He was tasered. It caused him to suffer a heart attack. And Reyher was apparently standing nearby as that attack was underway. Well, they say that he raised his arm to try to protect Officer Fanone from another person who was trying to attack him. And then apparently Reyher was among a group of men who helped to get Officer Fanone back to the tunnel and back to the police line. But even after witnessing that violent assault, Reyher went right back to encouraging the mob to enter the tunnel. So a short time later, the Reyhers finally left the area, and Reyher eventually spoke with the FBI, and he conceded, yeah, there was a lot of violence perpetrated against the police. He admitted to hearing members of the group yelling to use Officer Fanone's gun against him, and he couldn't explain why he was okay with any of this at the time, but they said he expressed remorse for participating in the attack. So Reyher was arrested on March 8th of 2023, and he was charged with civil disorder, entering a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct on restricted grounds, 2 counts of physical violence, and impeding passage on Capitol grounds. In November of 2023, Reyher pleaded guilty to the felony charge of civil disorder. So he was looking at up to 5 years in prison, 3 years of probation, and $250,000 in fines. However, the prosecutor requested only 1 year in prison, 3 years of probation, and $2,000 in restitution. U.S. District Judge Reggie Walton presided over Reyher's case, and in the end, he was sentenced to 8 months in prison, 3 years of probation, 200 hours of community service, and $2,000 in restitution. So decent, I think, comparatively, especially to some of these other cases. And considering that Reyher didn't cause any physical injuries, the really good news, he's not going to be able to vote in the upcoming election because this is a felony conviction. So even if he's out in time, he can't vote. Unfortunately, with good behavior, he just might be a free man by then, depending on when he starts his sentence. So we'll see. Anyway, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe if you have not. You can donate. Truly appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.